Yes, good evening. We're back with a Celtic Unrestricted View. I hope you've all had a lovely weekend. Joining us this evening is a legend and Lewis Toshney. How are we, Lewis? Hope you're well, mate.
All good. Buzzing to be on again.
Absolutely. We're buzzing that you're back on. We're buzzing you say that. I think I'm just punching myself here that the fact that you say that to join us. Two pair of loonies on a Monday night. And obviously it's good to see your smiling face today. And Mr. Andy Gray, as I call you, son, how are you?
I'm alright, mate. I've still lost to Mark Razor, mate, so the Mark's not back yet. So, no, like you say, mate, looking forward to the chat with Lewis again. The last one was really good with him, and obviously keep in contact. And it's good to obviously get him back on, mate, and hear his stories about Celtic and obviously the game tomorrow, mate. But I'm looking forward to it.
Aye, so are we all, mate. So are we all. Well, folks, as you all know, Michael Midge Gardine was meant to be joining us this evening, but something's cropped up with Michael and he's unable to come on tonight. So he did promise us, though, that he will try and get on sometime next week with us. I don't know what he's been caught up in, Lewis. You know him better than me, do, mate. So I'll leave that one to your imagination, mate.
I know exactly what he's up to. I'll be phoning him after this and giving him a bit of my mind.
Well, better you than us, by the
way. Some boy. Once he's obviously been on before. You get a good laugh from him. So what do you mean good? But I'm sure we can get on maybe sometime next week.
Brilliant. No, definitely. So Lewis, obviously, on a Monday night, normally what we do, mate, is we do what's called the Monday Huddle. And part of this is obviously to dissect what's just what happened in the weekend's obviously game, and Celtic obviously coming back after an international break and obviously taking back to Parkhead, because it's let's face it, it feels as if it's not very often we're at Parkhead at the moment, mate. So it's good to see he's back, and obviously can't ask for much better than that, mate. He's back and get a 3-0 victory. It's a nice way to announce yourself back to domestic business right after an international break, mate.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially after the back of the big win at Ibrox. To go on in an international break, you kind of just want the games to come thick and fast, especially a big result with that. But no, getting to Parkhead and getting the 3-0 win, obviously, first half going in 0-0. Thought it was a wee bit tight Dundee. You know what happens when teams come to Parkhead? They have a game plan and sit in and make it hard for them. But once Celtic get the goal and it kind of opens up, the game opens up, and Dundee need to go for it and Celtic pick them off. So that was a good result, and it's look forward to the game tomorrow night.
Ryan, just as Lewis says here, obviously it was a really good result for us coming back off. You can't ask for much better. We've spoke about it, mate, in terms of, you know, where do you want a 3-0 victory? People are dissecting the game bit by bit and getting it post-mortem, saying, oh, we went in nothing each at half-time, we've only doing this, we've only doing that. But, oh no, mate, they got the job done and we move on, we get the 3 points, and we keep, as Lewis says, we keep that momentum now that we brought up at Ibrox.
It was crucial, mate, that we didn't drop points, because there's really no point in going and beating Rangers at Ibrox. Massive game. Getting that kind of the feel-good factor back about the team, obviously, due to injuries, and the game, obviously, Kilmarnock and Johnston. To then go and drop points against Dundee, it'd be a bit deflating. So you need to carry on the momentum, as Lewis says. So,
yeah.
Again, JP, seeing football is as much as you want a good performance. See if you're getting results, that's the main aim. Obviously, you want to win with style and a bit of finesse about your play, but seeing off on each, as Lewis says, these teams at nothing half time, they're going in there laughing. Brilliant. Still nothing each at Celtic Park. Brilliant. Let's just go out and try and do the same. But like Lewis says, JP, once you get a goal at Celtic Park against you, it's very hard to come back and defend that. So clean sheet, mate, 3 goals, 3 good goals at that, obviously a penalty. So you can't really complain, mate, overall.
No, absolutely not, mate. And I thought they were quite impressive and much better than probably what we have. I mean, obviously from the beginning of the season to now, we've been a bit flat in certain performances, as we know, but I think we've been much better. Lewis, just on that, mate, obviously for Celtic, a lot of Celtic fans don't look at it this way, but I see it as we've had a massive transition over the summer in terms of players leaving, and we've also lost a manager and then had to replace him with a manager that plays not a completely different style, but a different change of tactic from you know what Ange Postecoglou is. Are you happy with, obviously, not just the manager signing, but obviously then, you happy with, all in all, the way things have been going? Do you think things could have been better? Or...
Nah, listen, it takes time. As you're right, it's a big change for the players in that as well. They're, you know what Ange obviously gave with, they gave with the high press. It's like, it's hard to adapt. Brendan Rodgers is slightly different, as you say, and it does. It takes time for players to adapt to that and the way the manager wants to play. And also, you've got to remember, like, Celtic have had a few injuries as well, and a few big players at that. Obviously, you're missing Carter Vickers. Obviously, the game at Ibrox, you're missing two centre halves really coming in. And that takes its toll as well with the players, the back four. You're not getting a settled team. To be honest, do we know we're best 11 at the moment under Brendan Rodgers? I'm not sure he does. I'm not sure he does know he's best 11 at the moment. He's still looking for that. He's bringing in Yang, obviously came on, started. He's got new players coming in, Louis Palma and stuff. So it's all exciting times. I think it's exciting times for Celtic. They could only get better. The game at Ibrox, I thought they deserved. They definitely deserved the 3 points. And then obviously Saturday they go out again and win 3-0 comfortably. So it is exciting. And Celtic, the team and the start 11 and the squad looks a strong squad. And no often they would say that about realistically, like our squad as a whole, maybe 18 to 20 players there that could all play in the first team. So I think it's exciting. It could only get better, in my opinion.
Yeah. Ryan, to touch on what Lewis was saying there, in terms of it's going to take a bit of time to implement your way, he's doing that in a transitional period, mate. We've went to Pittodrie, we won 3-1. We went to Ibrox, we won 1-0. And we've now kept that momentum going after the international break with another 3-0 victory. I think the last 3 games, we haven't conceded a goal as well. So clean sheets give you confidence. They also give you belief in terms of, the way forward. Obviously tomorrow night we'll touch on as we go on tonight. We'll touch on that tomorrow. But just what Lewis was saying, mate, it was always going to take time with Brendan coming in to bring his ideas different for obviously Angie's.
Oh, definitely. It's always going to take a bit of time with your manager. I know he's been here before, but it's still going to take a bit of time because it is new players. It's a new regime type of thing with Brendan now, so it's obviously going to take time, mate. And I think just us as fans, mate, because you've had success in the past, you think it's going to just continue, and it doesn't always be like that with a new manager. He's going to come in and pick his players, pick his formation, and I think a lot of fans were just maybe going to buy into the same philosophy as Ange, but Rodgers doesn't play like that. It's more possession based. It's still aggressive and intensity. But for me, you can't argue JP in terms of the start of the league. It's always going to be a transition phase, mate. New players and like Lewis says, guys like Palmer, Tinman, no been here before, and I'm actually I'm the same now. Now the window's shut. You've just got to deal with what you've got now. And I do agree with Lewis. I think fully fit. The squad is strong. Maybe lacking in a few areas, but I think overall, mate, as it stands right now, we can't say too much about the team to be critical because top of the league, you're in the Champions League. I know you're out of cup, but in the hindsight, JP, maybe we're just greedy. I think because of what we've had in the past, we've won trebles and we've done this, we've done that. I know getting out of the cup early doors is not ideal, but it's maybe a wake-up call that you can't just turn up and win every game. Winning trebles is hard, mate. It's no an easy feat. Celtic seem to make it easy the last few years, but it's no easy. But all in all, mate, I think so far this season, mate, we can be quite happy.
Lads, we seem to be getting a growing number of comments just now. They all think it's myself, but it's not myself. There's an echo coming somewhere, and obviously when we're speaking, it's playing in the background. So there's a comment here for Angie M, one of our regular commenters, saying that we've got an echo.
I don't know.
I'm not too sure if it's...
Is that better?
I think so. I think that's
Aye,
fixed the
there we
problem.
go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Is that Lewis causing trouble again?
It was maybe me. Turn my phone up.
That's all right.
No, what it is Lewis, obviously Ryan's spot on as well, mate. Trebles isn't an easy thing to win. And the manager that's at the helm just now has obviously made that he's made that the norm, if I want to say a better word. He's made that there's an expectation now from this is where we are in terms of mindset. There's an expectation now of Celtic fans. Is obviously there was a massive disappointment there when Kilmarnock knocked us out the League Cup so early. But that expectation's been there because of the success and of what we've had in seasons past, mate.
Sorry, I lost you, sir. Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right. The expectation, but I don't think it's through the Celtic fans. Even when I was a Celtic player, that is the expectation. The expectation is drilled right through you from a youth player, and then whenever you sign, I think the new players come in. That expectation is drilled into you as soon as you sign for Celtic Football Club. Like that is the expectation to win trebles, to win every cup that you're in. That's no from Celtic fans, because obviously I'm a Celtic fan as well now. But being a player and being brought up like that is the be all and end all, is win football matches and win trophies and be successful. And that is just what is expected of you. So the players will know that as well. The players know that, and obviously losing to Kilmarnock, it was a shock for the system. It was a shock for the fans. It would have been a shock for the players, but it's done now. It's the reaction, and we've had a reaction. They went to Pittodrie, as you said. They've went to Ibrox, and they're also picked up against Dundee. They're getting the new players in. Celtic fans demanded players to come in, and to be fair, the board have went and got them. I don't think we're ever going to be a team really that's going to spend 10, 50 million on players. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think Brendan Rodgers has probably said that in his interviews, and Celtic fans might not be happy. You see the profits in that made, but that's because what are being run as a business. They are being run. They're making the money. Do you know what I mean? That is what it is. It's a business to the guys upstairs, whether the Celtic fans like it or not. But again, if they're bringing success to us and they're bringing success to the fans, then to be honest with you, on you go. Do you know what I mean? As long as we're seeing the profits and we're seeing it on the pitch and the players are coming, and that is the main thing, I think.
Yeah, I really do. I think the way I take it, Lewis, is I think a couple of individuals in the team have took just up that wee bit more time to adapt to Rodgers' way of playing and his way of thinking, because Angie's football, it was almost in like 3D, as I called it, when it was happening. And now, you know, guys like Greg Taylor, it did happen on Saturday, right enough, but that's the kind of first time it's properly happened for Brendan's took back over. As the Alistair Johnson and Greg Taylor coming inside to support the midfield, and then the wingers coming inside as well into the sort of half positions to help out with maybe the 10 or the interchanging of that.
Yeah.
They did try that on Saturday, and that was very successful again for them. But again, I think some of it, like you says, is trial and error in terms of Brendan probably doesn't know his best 11 yet.
Yeah.
But Ryan, he's obviously added to the squad now, and bringing Palmer, Nat Phillips, Bernardo all onto the pitch on Saturday, I reckon, mate, that would have gave him a really good look at where they guys are in terms of fitness, where they are in terms of the level, and where they are in terms of how are they going to integrate probably fast into this group, mate.
Aye, I think it's a very good point that Lewis makes as well, mate. Obviously, us as fans, we don't expect trebles, but you expect to win just about every competition that, or at least try and get a good stab at every competition, even if that's Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, whatever it is. But I think that's a good point that Lewis makes. Every signing, probably, if you're foreign or you come up through academy or whatever, you're probably instilled right away. Listen, you need to come in, you need to win. You can't draw, you can't lose, you need to win. And if you draw, it's a disaster. If you get beat, just don't come out for 2 or 3 days, because the fans will just hound you. That's just the way it is in Glasgow, and it'll be the same for the other team across the water. So I think when you come to this club, as Lewis says, he's been brought in it all through his youth days and in the first team. Every training session, you need to strive to win, and I don't think that's any different now, JP. And I totally agree with you that no every single player is going to come in the first training session and be like a Kieran Tierney, a Scott Brown, McGregor, and just hit it off. Some foreign guys, they take a few weeks to get climatised to the weather. I know it's silly things, but the weather, the culture, the way of playing, how the standard is, how fit do they need to be to play at that level. And there's loads of things involved with football, JP. It's not just the fact of turning up playing. But I do feel guys like Palmer, Bernardo, they might take maybe a bit of time to climatise to the Scottish League, but I think the European side, they'll probably take like a duck like water because they're playing in European countries, so that style of play will probably suit them better than the Scottish standard. I don't know what you, if that's something you feel, Lewis, but I think the foreign guys might be more comfortable playing in the foreign atmosphere than they would be playing in Scotland into a new culture. If you go away from home, i.e. like tomorrow, I think the guys would be absolutely brand new, but playing them maybe at Ibrox, it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with you 100%. I think the Feyenoord tomorrow will, I know we'll touch on that, I'm probably jumping the gun here, but it'll be a tough game, very tough game. I've seen the atmosphere and that, I've watched them a few times, not this season, but previously, like in the Champions League and stuff, and you can see the atmosphere tomorrow will be electric as well. So it will be a tough game, but if Celtic turn up, you never know.
No, I think that's fair, Lewis. I did say a couple of weeks ago, mate, that they're never probably going to get into more of a hostile atmosphere as what they did when they stepped up to the plate at Ibrox. Yeah. They'll probably know, I don't know, I mean, I've never been in Feyenoord Stadium, so I don't know how hostile, if it is a hostile crowd or are they just know. I know they're a well-renowned support, and I know they've got a wee ritual thing that they do before the games and stuff, but I just don't know how loud is it as loud as Celtic Park, because your boys are used to, you know.
Yeah, nothing really, compares to that, really.
No, definitely no, and that's where I'm trying to compare it to in terms of going into that sort of environment. In my opinion, they've already done it for me, Lewis, going to Ibrox and stepping up to the plate there. So it should be an easy transition for them in terms of that. But I do agree with you, mate. Again, I was ready to say Ajax here because we're used to playing them in Europe. Feyenoord are probably a step up from any other team that's in your league at the moment. I would say. And I don't think that's been disrespectful.
No.
I think that's just the level they're at. And they're playing under a very good coach. So I do think that the environment itself will make it a harder game for us. I do agree with that. It's a wee question here, though. I'll put it to yourself, Lewis. Francis Lester is one of our regular commenters. He said he found it strange when Brendan put Maeda in the right on Saturday when Palmer came on, as the lad Palmer is right-footed, and he kept turning onto his right and going inside all the time with the ball. He's just asking, obviously, what's your thoughts here? My initial thought would be that, was that no kind of the same with Jota?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the way Jota set up, and everything's all that inverted way now. So you can put a left-footed guy on the right-hand side now. You can put a right-footed guy. I think for me, it's just the way the modern way of football, mate. But everybody's different, Lewis. What's your take on it?
Yeah, no, it depends. Obviously, if Dundee play a 2 in the middle, which they never played, they'll probably play 3 in the middle. You're looking to find wee pockets of space coming off the right and coming off the left. But again, you're right. Brendan Rodgers, he'll be trying things. He'll be trying new things. Probably you'll see that a lot, especially at Parkhead when they've got a lot of possession. They'll be asking players to go into areas that they'll be working on in training during the week. So they're used to come into a game and try it, because it's so hard with 10 players are sitting behind the ball. I've been through it. I've done it before at Celtic at youth level. And there's 10 actually players behind the ball, and you've got to try and break them down. Now, obviously, Brendan Rodgers is a top manager, and they'll be working on that training. They'll know that. So even coming in, if they're wanting Louis Palmer to come in on his right foot, his left foot, whatever it is, and then they'll get the fullbacks coming on and giving the width from there. Ali Johnson, Greg Taylor. There'll be loads of different ways to work it. That'll be getting worked on in training, 100%.
Ryan, obviously, what's your take on that Palmer situation there? Because I found it quite interesting as well. It was Maeda that made the move, and usually what happens is it's players make the move around about Maeda, but it was Maeda that sort of made the move to the other side. So what's your take on it, mate?
I think it's just the same, mate. I think it, like you say, Jota done it, and I think kind of years gone past, most of the wingers have kind of interchanged. Because when even under Brendan the last time, Sinclair done it, Roberts done it. They always change wings, and they kind of do that a lot. Wingers, and I think it all depends how the game's going as well. If it is nothing each, and then maybe 60 minutes, you're still saying, right, I'm not going to enjoy it this side. Let's swap or let's make a sub. And I think it's maybe just, as Lewis says, I think it's maybe just try to experiment to see what guys can do certain things. If this guy can do it, if he can, right, we'll need to change it. And I totally agree with what Lewis said, JP. I don't think he knows his full strong team yet, because he's not had the full capacity yet to pick for a fully fit 22-man, 23-man squad. He's not had the animation yet to pick that yet. He's not really had Vickers to fully pick yet. I know he's had 1 or 2 games, but so I think maybe for me, you'll probably maybe have to wait till maybe October time to roughly see the team that he's going to start picking, because that's when guys are going to come back for fitness. Atati's back now. We don't know how fit Phillips is going to be for tomorrow. So, but guys will slowly start coming back, and then you'll start to see. I like to feel, JP. You'll start to see performances then pick up when your main players are back. Because again, it's no disrespect to the guys who are squad players, but squad players aren't as good as the guys who, like your Hatatis and your Vickers. Even his Liam Scales, he's been brilliant, but he's no got Carter Vickers. So as soon as Vickers is back in, I think he'll play, and it'll be down to obviously even the boy in the Rocky start to come back as well. You spent good money in him, and he looked okay as well. So I think it's just a bit of time where JP to see how these guys will work. Can they do this? If he can, then I'll need to do him to do that. I think it's just more interchanging than anything else.
Am I right in saying that Rocky is not in the Champions League squad?
Injured, mate.
Yeah, he's not been picked because he's obviously must be a belter of injury he's got, mate.
Must be a bad one, eh?
Aye, well, they reckon it's 3 months.
Right.
But then the Champions League the group phase of the Champions League away. You know what I mean? So, no, it's the one thing I wanted to ask yourself, Lewis, is obviously, in terms of the amount of injuries that we are getting, mate. What would you put that down to? Rotten luck, or would you put it down to an adjustment in the training, sort of what they're doing?
Again, it's something that I kind of honestly.
It's all the kind of similar injuries. It's all the kind of same hamstrings and
it's all
calf
muscles.
muscles.
Again, when I was there, I could only speak from when I was there, and we done injury prevention every single morning before training with the first team. So you would do a gym session before you actually went out. Now, times of that was 10 years ago, do you know what I mean? So I could probably say the times have probably moved on a little bit now, but the injuries and that, there has been a lot of games. There's players on international duties and stuff that's you come back from injury and that as well. But again, the players have got to, they'll obviously tell Brendan Rodgers and his staff, John Kennedy and that, like if they're feeling anything, or they'll have the GPS stuff. They'll know how the high sprints. They'll have every single detail. So they'll know exactly what they're doing. So again, put it down to wrong luck. You can put it down to too much training, but they'll know what they're doing.
So I thought he's cool down at the weekend, mate. Did any of you boys ever think to run around Celtic Park in your bare feet?
Did he?
Aye.
That was his cool down. That was his. He ran round the outside of on the grass, but on the outside, the other side, sort of the white line, sort of thing. But he ran around the full stadium in his bare feet.
Crazy. Tell you, if he could play like he does, he could do whatever he wants.
No, to be fair, Lewis, it was the whole stadium. It was a massive cheer when he came off the bench. The whole stadium was totally lifted, and you could see the team was lifted as well. But I thought the substitutions at the weekend, Lewis, in terms of Palmer, Bernardo and Hatate all coming on a relatively quick time from one another.
Yeah.
I just potentially thought that gave the team an injection of quality.
Yeah.
That was missing from maybe the first half. That wee bit of finesse and a wee bit of panache at the top end of the field. Because again, it's not that we were struggling with a goal chopped half, and we had to post. Kyogo had to post with a kind of, I don't know how I still don't know what he done to even loop the ball the way he did. Like he sort of scooped it for that side of his body that way and got power on it to hit the post. I still don't know what the hell he done, because I was like, what did he do there? Like it was as if he just turned into a flamenco, bent his leg and sort of just dinked it. And I was like, did I just see him doing that there? And no, but as I said, it's just the Hatate coming. I just think he just gives us a totally different dimension, a different way of playing, mate.
He's got legs, he's got quality, and it's huge for a midfielder. But he's got the awareness, and he knows what's behind him and stuff. You've seen him even last season that he's playing passes that nobody ever sees. Do you know what I mean? The across the field passes and stuff. He's got all the ability in the world, and Celtic, we are just lucky to have him. But keeping him fit is huge. So getting minutes in his legs, and as you say, getting Bernardo on, Palma on, getting them minutes as well. Again, you're going to see a lot more of them, hopefully over the coming weeks, and they'll only get better and better and improve the squad. And that's what I'm saying. Brendan Rodgers is obviously trying to find out who is his best starting 11, and who he does. He's doing kind of what Ants does as well, and bringing players off on 60 minutes, which it might be a good thing. It might not. Maybe Celtic fans, I don't know if it works or no. Do you know what I mean? But again, it obviously worked on Saturday. These guys come off the bench and they bring that quality. Yeah. So that is what you need. That you need to look at your bench and have that quality coming off the bench. You know what I mean? You need top players to change games, because, as I keep saying, especially at Celtic Park, you've got 11 men behind the ball, and it's just hard. It is hard to break down. But when you've got the top quality players who could see passes that nobody else sees, then that is where you get the 3 points, and that's how you win games.
I found that obviously when he took O'Reilly off, because I mean, Ryan, you know my thoughts on it. I think the boy's different gravy. I really do. I think he's one of the best midfielders we've got at the club.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think he's superb at everything he does. But when he took him off and he brought Bernardo on, I saw a different side to a type of midfielder that we've not had for quite a while, mate. I saw he likes to get touch tight with a player, and he does this wee thing where he rolls, but he does it in a sort of reverse way. So he'll roll that way, and he does like a wee back heel the other way. So he tried it a couple of times, and it came off. There's one like Alistair Johnson made an overlapping run, and he just sort of round the corner, but he did that Ronaldinho thing where he just looks away like that and just flick the other way. And it was like, that's impressive, man. The boys, I mean, that's the boy's debut. He played 20 minutes and he's coming on at Celtic Park, and he's got the minerals, obviously, to be able to do something like that. And to me, Lewis, I just think that bodes well for us moving forward, because again, it gives us a different part of the makeup, especially in what I would call the main part of the team, which is engine room, mate. And it takes the weight off Callum McGregor. It really does.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when you've got that quality going forward, and then you've got, as you mentioned, Ali Johnson doing the wing, like they'll be doing that in training, so they'll be knowing exactly what he's liking and what he's good at, and he gets on half turn and he squares up defence. He could play that final pass to Kyogo on half turn. You've got all that, and again, I keep saying the same thing. They will get better and better and better. But again, it just needs to be. Celtic fans just want it instantly. They want it quick, and what Ange, it probably did happen a lot quicker than everybody thought when he first came in. And we could only hope that it happens with Brendan Rodgers again. But listen, we've started well. Apart from the wee blip at Kilmarnock, we've started well. And it's just a case of keeping this going.
Ryan, as Lewis says, we've started well, mate, but I think a lot of the section of our supporters, and then obviously you see like Brendan going round at the end of the game, the Green Brigade not even want to clap him, or they just stood there with their arms down and just looking at him. And I think the overall census would be for the media and stuff would be that we haven't really started that well. although we're 4 points ahead at the top of the league and we've not lost a league game yet, and we've went to, like I said at the beginning, Pittodrie and Ibrox in the first opening few games of the season, and we've won.
If that's us no starting, mate, then I can't wait till we start winning games again. Honestly, I don't know what people. Like I says, mate, we've all obviously played at a high level, but we've all played football, mate, and you've need it. You turn up to a game with no divine right to win any football game. You need to earn it, and you need to work hard, and you need to perform. And apart from the one game against Kilmarnock, I know we've got a draw against St Johnstone, but for the one defeat, how many defeats have we had in the last 3 years?
No,
there's no money.
Maybe 7, 8, maybe at a push.
Yeah,
maybe 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, I would say so.
St Mirren, I think last year, Rangers, I think one other game maybe. 300, I think so. Under Answer, maybe 2 or 3 the first games of the season. So maybe just to give or take 10 in 3 years we've lost. So
well, I've lost the first 3 games.
That's what I mean.
So
maybe give or take 8 to 10 games at a push, but we've lost in maybe 3 seasons. It's not bad, mate, for a team that's not started well. I've seen a lot, obviously, like social media, and you see a lot of teams, name across the water, saying that our team is not that good and this and that. And we've won 11 out of 12 leagues, mate, and you've won 5 out of 7 trebles, etc. Mate, the winning mentality of this squad, Celtic, like even Lewis says before we come on, the way the financial side of it, yes, I know we get frustrated with no signing big player. I get that, right? I'm the same, but we're all frustrated. We'd all love another Edwards signing and a £12 million goalkeeper, a £10 million flying left back, full back. But like Lewis says,
that's just you, mate.
That's just me.
That's just you, mate. Don't give us your nonsense.
I'm not a fan of Greg Taylor, mate, so I like that. No, but going forward, mate, like Lewis says, the club's a business, and I don't think some fans really realise the financial side of it. As much as we want massive players and big wages, but see the way the club is now, it means that we don't need to then go and sell a player again, because we don't need to actually be a selling club for another year because of what we've got. Because if we win this league next year, I actually found out this today. I was in about a dig in the day. If we win the league this year, automatically get into the Champions League, you get £60 million and tap what you've already got to know. That's without selling a player. Then you get 8 games. Then you get 8 games this new format, and then if you finish and it's between 9th and 24th in this big league table, you get a playoff, which is another 2 games to get into the last 16. So that's 10 games as well. So think the money side of it, and then it's giving you more the fruits to then go and invest again. So overall, JP, I'm no absolutely buzzing. We've lost a game or drew, whatever, but I'm nowhere near the way I was maybe 3 weeks ago. I was a wee bit more, we've not got a left back, we've not got a goalkeeper, we've not got another striker. But that's just greed. We can't go and sign 7 and 8, 9 players every window. It's not going to happen. It's just, if fans was here, I don't think we'd have signed 8 or 10 players. I think we'd have maybe signed 3 or 4 bits of quality and kept it going. So I don't think Jota would have left the fans was here. I think he'd have stayed. But the Saudi money is crazy, mate. You can't knock that back. So
how does Jota feel now?
Again, mate, I don't know if he's been ill-advised. I don't know if that's something, Lewis, that you've ever been involved in with players or guys, you know. But do you think maybe sometimes did they get told, listen, you do this and this, and money's come in, and maybe this has happened to you, but they don't actually look at the full picture? You've been at Celtic or been at a big club, European side, winning trophies, but do you think sometimes it's a wee nibble in the ear? Listen, there's that money.
Could be, yeah.
Get out of there.
Yeah. As soon as I don't know if his agents have said, like, listen, this is a lifetime opportunity. You're not going to, realistically, right? Jota could break his leg. He could get a bad injury, and that could be off the table, and that'll never happen again. That all the zeros on the end of his wages. Do you know what I mean? And it's, when you think about it like that, it's different. But I totally get Celtic fans, or even if it was to go to England or like different small club, like I'm not saying small club, like Burnley or a Leicester or somebody like that, then you would be like, nah, come on, you're playing Champions League at Celtic, you're playing in front of 60,000 fanatic fans. Do you know what I mean? Like the atmosphere, you won't get anywhere in the world like that. But when you're seeing the pound signs coming, like that could be a lifetime opportunity that will never happen again. Do you know what I mean? So, but again, I get there's maybe agents in his ear. There's maybe could be his wife, could be his boyfriend, could be anybody saying to him, right, you need to get yourself out of there. We don't know. We don't know the situation that Jota was in or anybody that was in. So it is difficult to say, but people make choices, and that's it. Yeah.
Turns out to be a very silly choice now, doesn't it? Because
Correct.
obviously, I mean, you can't predict the future, but the way I look at it, Lewis, is he's going to go to Saudi Arabia, but he's never going to find the brazen heat again, mate. No, hell
No.
And nobody will let him walk into a boozer with a bumblebee strap on and double denim on, aye.
No chance. No
Talk about
chance.
double denim, I don't want to keep you too long, me man, so we need to be letting you go shortly.
Had a
We've
half
got
time
to
show.
be, we've got to be, thing, mate, Lewis. Ryan decided to dog a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we found him. Here he comes.
Oh, there he is there.
There he is, there. Presented with a double denim.
The wee boots are brilliant, man.
I actually think it was Barry Bannon that gave you the boots, right?
I'm the same size as shoes, mate, so I never know.
Aye, well, that's true. Aye, definitely. But Lewis, obviously, before we touch on tomorrow night, mate, obviously yourself and you'd a very good upbringing in terms of playing for Celtic and getting to know the ins and outs of what goes on. So you kind of know in terms of feeling in camp, etc. You obviously played at the youth level Champions League experience as well. Going into the games, mate, what like is what like's the overgrown feeling there? A young lad like yourself, aspiring to play. Are you nervous? Are you just focusing on the job ahead?
Yeah, so it was the next generation that we played in. So played against Manchester City, we played against Marseille, and we played against Barcelona. So again, there's no really nerves. I don't think at that age. I would have been 17-year-old and fearless, really. You're playing with your mates that you train with every single day. And you're going to all these places. You're going to obviously France to play Marseille in the first game. We lost 1-0 that game. And then you're playing Manchester City. You're going down to Manchester. You're playing them. There's no nerves about it. You go out and play and you give it your best shot. Do you know what I mean? But against top quality teams, where it's total. I'm no disrespect to the teams that you played. Like obviously your Dundee United, your Dundees, your Hearts, your Hibs, your Aberdeen Rangers. It is totally different when you're playing the Marseille, the Man City, the Barca. It's a different level. They keep the ball better. There's better movements. You're on the back foot as a defender that I was. You're up against top quality strikers. So it was brilliant for us. It was a great experience. And it's something that kids probably don't get nowadays unless you're at a Celtic and Rangers. I think they're trying to bed it into your Hearts, your Aberdeens and stuff like that, but it's something that you don't get often. And every experience that I got was honestly, it was brilliant. And then even after the game, we would go and watch the first team against obviously Barcelona, Man City's and that. So it was brilliant. It was.
And obviously at that level as well, mate. I know obviously first team's slightly different, but were you well looked after when you travel to these places? Yeah, when you given like real good treatment as well, and makes it an easy and smooth transition for you boys as well.
To be fair, I obviously went with the first team in Europa League. I went to Atletico Madrid and I went to Udinese, 2 away trips, and it was when I was doing the next generation. It was the exact same. It's the exact same treatment you get as the youth player and the first team player. There's buses from the airports. There's the food in that. The hotels are brilliant. Everything is just the exact same. You get treated like kings, to be honest. You can't ask for any more. You get looked after. So, but again, that comes from Celtic as well. Obviously, putting the money in and paying for all that as well. So it's top. It is top.
Must have seen some quality, man, with the big shouts there you've just gave us. But at the time of that, I mean, remember Falcao played with Atletico Madrid. Your boys like Koke, he played with him as well. And obviously Udinese, Di Natale still playing
Di
with him at the time
Natale,
as well.
Aye.
So you must have seen some really good. What like was that? Seeing the boys in the flesh?
Oh, brilliant. Well, we obviously, I think the last time Celtic played Atletico Madrid, that was the game that I was obviously, I never made the bench that night. I was in the squad,
Right.
but I was that group, and I was on the bench against Udinese. And obviously, you mentioned Di Natale was there, but we trained on the night before the game. We were training on the pitch. So even doing that, like you're training on the pitch, and that is just incredible. You're looking up and thinking, Jesus, this is incredible. And you're praying to be involved and you're praying to be a part. I didn't obviously get to go on the pitch at Udinese, or I was in the stands at Atletico Madrid, but just being and having that experience of traveling to the games and stuff is something that nothing could take it away. Do you know what I mean? You have that experiences in life, and being a lifelong Celtic fan and being a supporter, doing it, it's just incredible.
Ryan, obviously we chat about it regularly, mate. And we talked about Ben Summers and the boys that travelled to Japan, and what an experience that must have been for them to see that end of the world. But just as Lewis says, mate, again, and even playing, like even get a game of fives on these like stadiums and play on it, mate. What a feeling that must have been, like, especially like say the guys that Celtic were going to be playing against, like I say, like Koke, Falcao, boys like that ilk. I mean, they were impressive then. These teams they probably won the. Am I right in saying as well that was the.
There was 1-0 Atletico.
Yeah, but would that have been the Vincent? It was their old stadium, wasn't it? It wasn't the one they're in now.
Yeah. The Calderon, Vincent Calderon, I think.
The Vincent Calderon, that's what that stadium was in. But obviously, Ryan, you were more so last year, done the tour when you were over at Real. With Celtic, and obviously you've been in the new stadium, mate, and you said it's quite an impressive stadium. So even you picture you standing there saying it's impressive being in the stadium. You picture the emotions Lewis went through in terms of standing on that pitch, and that must have been sensational.
It'd be amazing, mate. Like you say, even me as a fan, I've always said I'd imagine every Celtic fan feels the same, mate. You've been going to Celtic Park for years and the same seat for years, but when you walk up to your seat, mate, it's a special view, mate. I know people might think it's cliche or it's cringe, whatever, mate, but it's a brilliant feeling walking up to your seat, seeing that park. It's just, mate, football's a place, mate, that football's one of the only places where some of the feelings you get with football, mate, you don't get in general life. It's for 90 minutes or that hour, whatever you see the football game. It's frightening, mate, and like you say, even I done a tour, mate. It was a beautiful stadium, mate, and that's me just looking about and taking it in. Imagine being there like guys like Lewis and the Celtic team. That hostile atmosphere, of just everything building up in the game and just being there. It must be, for me anyway, Lewis, I think it'd be like he says, mate, nobody can ever take that away from you. Being on the bench and being involved in that, and see actually like, the build up to these games. Obviously, you kind of know roughly how the players are kind of prepared and stuff like that. Is even though when you were going to these kind of the next gen games and then obviously up to the first team on the bench and stuff, does your mindset change for playing in the youth going to the first team, or do you need to just keep kind of your feet on the ground and keep the same mindset? Because like you say, you don't want to get nervous, you don't want to get too excited, you just want to say it's another game. But obviously, by a young boy, in your head, you must be like, geez, I'm actually going to this stadium, I'm going to play against, I might play against these players, but do you still need to take it into consideration that it is another game and you don't want to get yourself too hyped up?
Yeah. To be fair, I remember being on the bench, he was mentioning the team Udinese, I'm sure that was first, and I was there, I can't remember as being that nervous for some reason, because I remember obviously the very first time I made my debut at Pittodrie, I was shouting myself. I genuinely was, and that was the first time I was in and around the first team or training with them. And but training with the guys, obviously going from youth to the first team, I was training with the first team a lot, like every single day, so I was comfortable with the guys. So no, I was totally fine when it got to the Udinese, and obviously I never played again. I would go pre-season and that. I think I went to Austria and stuff and played a couple of games over there, and there was no. I didn't really. I didn't really get nervous playing for Celtic and that, because it's just you become comfortable you're with them every single day. You're eating lunch with them, you're eating breakfast with them, you're playing pool with them, they're your pals. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, but again, I'm saying that if I probably got the shout to go on, I would probably start right. I need to zone in here and go. But obviously, I never, so I can't really comment on that. But nah, I was totally fine, because again, they're your mates at the end of the day.
It's obviously, I just think it's just interesting how I think it's probably similar to now. Like, I don't think right now, like, the youth setup in terms of some of the youth boys, I think if they went up to the first team on the bench and stuff, I think it's miles apart. But I think your youth team, yous kind of seem to be, that was maybe one of the last generations where they seem to be, I'm not saying on a par with the first team, but you come in and do a job. I think nowadays, I don't know if that's because maybe today we kind of, the reserve league isn't in here now, or they don't really play, they don't go maybe once a week down to Sunderland or West Brom or West Ham and play these games against these top youth players. Because for me, I think, I don't know what you feel, Lewis, off, you've been through your system, so you know how it all works.
Yeah.
But just for looking for the outset, I don't think it's working, because no real youth player is coming in and being that good. But I think, I don't know if you watched the podcast tonight with me and JP, we spoke in Ireland, we spoke about that. Well, I said anyway to the guys that I think guys like James Forrest, maybe no playing, but if we've got a reserve league, I know we've got of us about being won it. Right, James, you're not playing on Saturday, not going to the squad, but go and play on Thursday, go and get 90 minutes, go and help some of the youth boys, and then just in case and you're in the team next week, that's you get 90 minutes, you're more prepared for next week. But if you're not playing football, not playing for 5-6 weeks, and then you're getting a game, one, you're rusty, two, you'll probably be a bit, not lost, but you'll be maybe a bit off the pace. But if these young boys are actually playing competitive football, they're going to win a trophy, because in this lower league, they can't win a league, they don't get a medal. And for me, I think, I don't know what you feel, Lewis, but we said the other night, I don't want to say it's pointless, but it kind of is, because you're training every day. But what's the end goal? Is it just to get to the first team? Is it in order to win it, a trophy, or I don't know? But I don't know if I need to go on loan, or because I don't feel, Lewis, they're getting any. Again, I could be talking out my bum cheeks here, but I think they've got to do something to make it more competitive. And I know they're playing against men, but again, they're playing at a far better level than me. But they're part-time. How can you step up playing against part-timers and then going against these physical, strong, full-time players?
Yeah. Lewis, say before you come in, can I just add to what Ryan was saying there in terms of the way I feel now? I feel as if we're just losing a lot of our boys now. Whereas when you lads were there, we didn't really lose a lot of you pretty quickly. You weren't quickly to go. So I feel, well, obviously, to add to what Ryan was saying there, I just feel as if a lot of your boys now are like, right, bye-bye, I'm away. Look at Ben Dokes. There you go. Bye-bye, I'm away elsewhere.
That name was exactly in my head. I was trying to think of players. But I think you're 100% right. What they need to do is they need to bring back the reserve league, and they need to bring back the under-19s league. That would be my 100% opinion. And guys, like, if you're not playing on maybe you get 3 first-team players that could come and play with the youth, and they could help them out, and they could give them that experience. There's no better feeling than being a youth player and being a 16, 17-year-old kid and playing with an experienced pro, especially at centre-back. He literally just talks you through the game. He gives you so much experience. He gives you so much ideas of the games and positionings where you should be. I think it's absolutely criminal why they don't do that now, and they're playing in the Lowland League. And yeah, they're playing against men, but you're right, the part-time, there's no competitiveness really. I just think it's a no-brainer to bring back the reserve league and bring back the under-19s league, exactly like what it was. You were fighting for leagues every single year. Now, as I say, we won 3 years in a row, the double, the Scottish Cup and the league. Now, I think maybe there's Carl McGregor was in he was a year below. James Keaton's was my age. And then also James Forrest, you've got Declan Gallagher, Stephen O'Donnell. They're all guys that they're still playing. Stuart Brannigan. There's guys that are still playing obviously out there. But I just think, like, where's the youth players coming through now? Like, for Celtic, they've always brought through like very, very good players, but again, they seem to leave at maybe 1920s. Like, we were the best in the league. Like, we won every single game. We would bar Rangers and stuff like that, but I would say maybe 3-4 got kept on, and the rest just got binned. And that was kind of it. And where did they go from there? They go to maybe a Perfect Thistle, and then after that it's kind of away. And it's a shame. It shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have happened.
No, I think it's not just that as well. I think that, like you say, if guys, even like the new, just for talking sake, McCarthy doesn't know he's going to play with Celtic, right? But he can't play in the B team because obviously the age restrictions and everything else, right? Yeah. But if there's a reserve league, he can play every week. I know he might not get a game, but it's given him more chance of even getting a game with Celtic. I know he's probably not going to play, right? I know that, but on just for talking sake, he can play 90 minutes and men might go, but he's looking okay. Maybe see how this goes in the next few weeks. He might. I know he probably won't, but it's just a scenario. I don't know what you feel, JP, but I do feel that, again, mate, if it means that we need to speak about it and somebody takes notice, I don't know, mate, but I think it's a topic that doesn't get mentioned too much. I don't see a lot of fans really talk about it in other Celtic podcasts, mate. I don't really see it get mentioned too much. I do feel that they've got to do something to either. I know pound signs, etc., are massive, but see if you're dealing with the right agent, the right family, the right whatever, and they can guide you. And then, but if you've got the infrastructure, the facilities, i.e. the reserve league, knowing you're going to be playing at least 90 minutes every week, and then maybe training with the first team once, twice a week, it's only going to benefit going forward.
Yeah, definitely, mate. What I do think is, I've said it to you before, I think that the gap between the B team right now and the Celtic first team is like the Grand Canyon. It's massive. So much so, when the boys come and play with the first team, some of them look lost. Some of them just look that you just remember when Willow Flood signed for us and couldn't get a jersey to fit him. That's to me. That's just about a boy. I know he's up laughing, right? But that's just the vision I've got in my head there.
I've got that vision because that was me when I played football, mate. And he stopped fitting me.
I looked like one of the Cameroon players, by the way. I was too big for a jersey, man. It's all that skin tight. That was me invented that, by the way, when I played football. But no, I just think the gap's massive, lads. I really, really do. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that we need to bring the reserve league back, and we need to get. If they're not going to do that, then they need to take them out the Lowland League. And no disrespect to the Lowland League, there's a lot of good teams in there, good football getting played. But if we want to aspire to get the boys a pathway to the Celtic first team, I don't mean to be rotten, and I'm really sorry, but I don't mean this to sound disrespectful. We shouldn't be playing against civil service strollers on a Saturday, looking to get the boys then to because if there's a bad injury happens to the first team, how can you go for playing Albion Rovers to then going and playing at Ibrox next Saturday if you're needed to? It's night and day. It is night and day. Now, Ryan, you were at the game on Saturday with your dad's team, right? And you saw that level, and you said, the boys are really good, right? But you've heard your dad speak about, and obviously yourself coaching now, Lewis, as well, and he's coached at a very good level and everything else. But you look at the levels, what you guys can do and what your teams can do to then, what are Celtic done? You talk about numbers in football now. Kyogo's numbers, Maeda's numbers, the running numbers alone must be in the red constantly. Just with the sheer energy and ability of these guys, the fitness. Look at Callum McGregor. Look how he's able to carry himself and play 3-4 games every 10, 11 days. It's phenomenal. It's a totally night and day jump, guys. And again, I don't want that to sound this. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the levels, but that's why that's what it's called, levels. That's why. And if your B team players are aspiring to then play for the first team, then you need to make it feasible for them. You need to make it accessible for them. You need to. I know, sorry, as Lewis says, he was in there training with them every day. Some of these boys aren't training with the team every day. Some of these boys are coming in out of cold. when it's maybe a pre-season game, or and you can't have that. You need so what I'm looking for. You need a bit more clarity in what's going on, and you need a bit more regularity and consistency. Lewis, it just to me, mate, when I look at you guys when you played with the team, and like Michael Gardine and that sort of era, boys like that coming through, even James Forrest, it's just it's went like that.
Yeah,
in terms of the gap, mate, it's frightening.
Yeah, we'd be training with them a lot as well, before you actually played. Do you know what I mean? Like the squad of Celtic now, there's what 25, 26 probably players, first team players, not counting any youth players.
Mm-hmm.
So coming into that, I don't know how it works now, or how Brendan Rodgers worked it, or how Ange worked it, or how the youth. I don't think they would go and pick. We would be training, and then we would get called up from the gaffer Lennon. Lennon would be showing, give us 2 youth players, give us 3 youth players, and Stevie Frail would send us over. I just don't see how that could happen now with 26 players there. Do you know what I mean? That would never happen. You wouldn't go, or even like you'd come in the morning, you'd be sitting having your breakfast and stuff, and Stevie Frail would come right, oh, you two were Tosh, you were the first team, Slaney, you were the first team, and we'd be all right, okay. I don't think that would probably happen, but because we were doing that, we were getting up to the speed of the game, we were getting up to the speed of training, we were getting that experiences training with them. Like if it wasn't every day, it was every second day, maybe every third day, but you were getting that experience. You know what the manager was wanting, you know how they were playing, you would do shape, you would know exactly what was happening. Do you know what I mean? But I just don't. Maybe that's probably the problem, that they're just getting. They are. It's maybe the young guys' fault. They're maybe good players, good talent, individual players, but they aren't getting what the first team are getting, and they're not getting to that level.
But that's obviously, Ryan. That's where we need to now. If they boys want to make football and do it at the club that they love, then we need to make it more accessible for them. We can't keep hindering them by putting them into a league where there is no what's the word I'm looking for?
There's not an angle there, is there?
No, there's no incentive for them. There is nothing there.
Yeah.
Because if they want, I think Celtic, did they not finish high up in the season last season, and they ended up having to give it to Spartans because they had finished like third in the league or something.
I think it was.
And they were the next go-to team that could only be promoted in that system.
I'm sure it was Rangers, 7 Hearts kind of filled the top 3 or 4 or something. But
Hearts were miles off it, mate.
But I know Spartans and Tennent done well last year. I know obviously Tennent are run that league as well now still. So, but I think it kind of goes somewhat about Lewis was saying. They guys were training with the first team every day, and that's I know playing games is experience, but if you're training at that level every day, it's an easier transition to then go on the bench and then go and play. But if you're not training with the first team every day and then you're getting on the bench and then going on to the first team, now bear in mind some of these boys, like Vata last year, maybe get 10-15 minutes against Hibs, or 10-15 minutes against St Mirren, right?
Yeah.
But coming in with 15 minutes to go, the game's already at a high, massive pace. You then have to come in and climatise to that. And if you're not trained at that level, how can you then come in and break an impact? It must be so hard. Again, I'm only talking for the outset. I don't know how, but it must be hard. But I don't know what you feel, Lewis, as well. I always kind of gauge as well. It's similar with Chelsea. Like Chelsea, I always think if Chelsea loan somebody out to either the top championship or the bottom of the Premier League, then I'm thinking, right, they might come back next year. Like Mason Mount went on to Derby, done well at Derby, he came back and played. But I feel like Celtic, if you're sending boys out to like Boston, Lowell, Fleetwood, probably going to play with Celtic if he's got to Fleetwood. That's what I'm thinking. The boy Ben Summers away to Dundee, Dunfermline in Championship, probably not going to play with Celtic if he's got to. That I maybe thinking the loan moves sometimes, Gage. So maybe if Celtic think you're going to play right, maybe like Liam Scales went to Aberdeen. Aya went to Kilmarnock and they've come back and played a wee bit. Do you think that's, am I maybe thinking too much of that, or do you think that is something that can be gauged?
It's hard. It's hard. If you go out on loan, you're going out on loan for a reason. You're going out on loan because you're not going to get game time at Celtic. As I say, the best thing I ever done was go out on loan to Kilmarnock and play from January to the end of the season. Obviously, I got a bad injury, and that how I prolonged my career was because I went on loan to Kilmarnock and Dundee and got the minutes into me and got SPL experience. Now, Scales has obviously done the exact same thing. He's went to Aberdeen and done really well, and he's came back. But again, I think managers make up minds on players very quickly. Now, whether it's made up now on Scales, he's been put on loan, he's came back, he's done really well at Ibrox. But again, as you said at the start of the show, is he going to be a player for Celtic in the Champions League week in, week out, or is he going to be a player that's going to play? In my opinion, I don't think he is. Whether he does really well in games, because Celtic at this moment in time, yeah, they've got the money and stuff, they'll go and sign players like they've done. They've went and signed, 3-4 centre-halves because they had injuries. So it's all competition, you're right. But again, I think managers make up minds. It doesn't matter about sending them out on loan. That's just to get experience, because they're no needed. They're no needed at Celtic at this present time. Different if you put out a loan player, put out a youth player, sorry. That's a little bit different. That's getting the experience and stuff. And do you know what I mean? That's getting all that. If Bossell's going, Loyal's going to Fleetwood, he's getting experience of playing League One football in England, which again, that I can imagine. I've obviously never played in England, but I can imagine it being big and physical. So he might come back, and it might be a different. I think he's only 19 or something. He's still young. But Scales is obviously a little bit older, and again, it's all different reasons you go out on loan. But in my opinion, I just think that at a club like Celtic, if you're going out on loan at 21, 22-year-old, I just don't see a future at that present time. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I've said it to me and JP have kind of spoke about it now in the last few months, and it's not just on Mikey Johnson, but Mikey Johnson, maybe 22, 23 roughly.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's just thematic. I think JP, you agreed with me as well that as much as he's got a lot of ability and he can through the year system at Celtic, I don't think people understand how, like yourself, Lewis, you've been through it. So you need to be really good, in my opinion, athletic. You need to be fit. You need to be really good ability wise. Determined. You need to be full package to get through the year system at Celtic, because it's one of the hardest year systems I feel to get into the first team. For guys like Mikey Johnson to do that, he's obviously got raw ability. He's got a lot of qualities, but if you're not in the first team, like you said, in my opinion, don't you feel, JP? I know you've maybe said a bit on it before, but for me, JP, guys like Mikey Johnson, he could do well this year. I think it's game time. He could. But if you're, like Lewis says, I don't think if you're not in the first team, maybe 21, 22, playing a bit regularly, maybe come off the bench every so often and getting a bit of game time, when are you going to be in the first team? Because if you're going to be... there's no point when it's Celtic at 24, 25, come through your system and go out on loan and come back. Because that's what Chelsea do. They send you on loan, they bring you back, right back out on loan. There's guys who've been in Chelsea, been there 4 or 5 years, millionaires, and no played a first team game. And it's crazy, but it's just the way football goes. But I don't know what you feel, JP. I just think that I'm agreeing with Lewis. I think if you're not really playing in the first team, maybe 21, 22 regularly, I think when are you going to play with Celtic?
No, I totally get you. I understand. I totally agree with that. I understand what you're saying. I do think Mikey Johnson would have been there if he wasn't really... I mean, talk about bad luck with injuries, man. The lad's been hit for part of post with injuries here and there. But you look at the aspect of Mikey being fit and going to Portugal in a very, very competitive league against teams like Porto, Sport Lisbon, Benfica, and he was doing the damage. And he was doing it regularly. So much so that he got his international recognition with Republic of Ireland at a time when Scotland would not even entertain it. I can't even think for the life of me why that was the case. Why Steve Clarke wouldn't want to have somebody like that in the team. Because, listen, Lewis, you probably know him a bit better than I do. I know he's a bit behind you in terms of age-wise, but Mikey, we've spoke to people like Sam Wardrobe and boys that have played with Mikey. There is no doubt Mikey has got some real genuine quality and technical ability to his game. You don't come through Celtic's Youth Academy and get to the first team level if you don't have something about you. So I think Mikey falls into a different category there, Ryan, in terms of, will he not make it?
No, I've just used him as an example.
I get that. I think it's because of his injuries, mate. I think we would be talking about a different Mikey Johnson at the moment if Mikey's injuries didn't happen, because I have no doubt in my mind that Mikey could come in and perform for us if he was ready to go. Because we've seen it. I mean, he's played in cup finals. He's played in big games for the team. He scored some good goals for the team as well. And you know, I call them the games that you apart from the big games, right? I call them the games that you know, sometimes you need to win ugly to win titles. Sometimes you need to get the result to win a title. And I think that, you know, the games that you win 1-0, 2-1, Mikey scored goals in 8 games at Celtic Park, but we've not had a great game up against maybe a low block St Johnson, and, you know, they're sitting in and happy to take a draw. And then Mikey's come off the bench, and a moment of magic, he's cut between 2 players, and before you know it, he's curled one to the far post. He'd done that not so long ago. It was only a couple of seasons ago he done this. And that was the telling difference of that day, just that genuine bit of quality. And that's what he does have, Ryan. I just think he's not been anywhere. I agree with you, he's not been anywhere near consistency levels are shown that week in and week out. I know you touched on Liam Scales there, Lewis. I think Liam's found himself in a very, very fortunate position at the moment, mate, because I agree with you. I don't think he'd be near the team, you know, if we didn't have these injuries. But on the other breath, he's then come in and he's gripped that with 2 hands and he said, "Look, this is my position now. So if any goes want this, he's gone in and he is. I know it took him 10, 15 minutes. People are saying to get into the game at Ibrox, but he grew.
Yeah,
and he was solid on Saturday right for the off. So he's now setting standards for himself, and he's now set the bar at a point where where he's now saying to Brendan, "Listen, I don't care if they're back fit. I don't care if CCV and, you know, Big Rocky's back fit. This is my jersey, and unless I'm playing bad, then no, I don't care if you rotate the team. Don't be rotating the team none about me, mate."
Yeah. No, again, like, credit to him. Like, he came in Ibrox and again, he got man of the match performance. He was absolutely outstanding. Brilliant. My point was, it was just at 20, I think he's maybe 22, 23, going out alone. I just think that obviously they've went and signed that Phillips a loan deal. When it happened to, again, I'm going back to myself because it's my experience as well, but it happened the exact same with me. I was a right back coming through at Celtic, and they went and signed a guy the exact same age as me, and Adam Matthews. And I was thinking, they obviously had Lustig, so it was myself, Adam Matthews. There was obviously players, Mark Wilson, that could probably play there as well. But there were so many guys ahead of me. But again, you just think, like, you need to have, at Celtic, you need to have the mentality you are the best player for that position, no matter who it is in front of you. You have to have that. If you don't have that, there's absolutely no way, and there's no chance that you should be playing. And there's no way that a manager sees that in you, because you need to, even at every training session, you're getting watched. Whether it's the manager, whether it was Lennon, whether it was Gary Parker, whether it was Mialbi or Alan Thompson, every single, especially a youth player as well, they would be watching you and watching your every move. What you're, even off the pitch as well, training wise, like what you're eating, what you're doing after, like they watch everything. They need to. And it's the exact same as Skills. Like right now, he's came in, he's been out alone, he's came back in, and he must be thinking, and as you're saying, he's playing in that position. He has that jersey. It's up to him to keep it, and I hope he does keep it. I really do, and I hope he proves you wrong. But I just think that going out alone at that age, and Brendan Rodgers, obviously, it was Ange at the time sending him out. But again, it's a new manager. The face might fit. He might, like Scales again. He's grabbed his opportunity. I hope he does do it. I really do.
I think it's quite interesting, Lewis, also at the beginning of that, before you went on to chat about Scales there.
Yeah.
You did pinpoint that managers nowadays make up their minds early about players. Now, Brendan Rodgers spoke very highly about Liam Scales when he was in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, it would indicate that, you know, he must like Liam Scales, and he obviously must see something in Liam Scales that, you know, he likes that level of quality that he brings. For me, Lewis, I don't know if it's just me, mate, but do you not think he just brings a different, in terms of a type of balance to the team, because he's a left centre back? They're so hard to come by.
Yeah.
And I know we do have another one in Kobayashi, but when he played, he just looked miles off anything that we were trying to do at the moment, in terms of physicality and the way he plays. because for us, I just could not. I mean, you've played defence yourself, mate.
Yeah.
For me, a defender needs to be able to header a ball, and he needs to be able to jump. That's his bread and butter. I don't care if he's the best technically. If you cannot header a ball and you play at centre back, then you are not there to be a centre back. For me, you'd be as well playing pool with Tommy Gravison somewhere. But I personally just think that Liam Scales gives us that balance.
Yeah.
That it just looks so. It just looks perfect. You know, the way it's just dead easy for him to give a ball to Greg Taylor or slip it into Callum McGregor, or even go one higher and go up the line to, like, if Dyson makes a run in and a spin in behind.
Yeah.
And he seems to have that sort of distribution as well, where he's not afraid to get on the ball and step forward with it as well.
Right.
And again, I don't know if that's playing beside, and I don't know the early stages for everyone's point of view, but for me, I think he looks a belter. The big boy Lager Bielke looks so confident on the ball. He looks very, very assured. He steps forward. He looks his head up constantly. He looks to play forward. He doesn't look to play back. Very seldom does he go back to me unless he's ready to fall or be fouled at, I don't know, against like guys like Dessers and that, as we saw that big. What sort of outcry that caused that day, but no, I just think the makeup of that it just looks more practical, having like a natural left-sided centre back in the team rather than a guy on his right foot all the time.
Yeah.
I think Matthews are spot on in your points there. I do agree. I did say before, Skills went to Team Lewis. I think there's a reason why they've paid money for Lager Bielka and money for Rocky. They're obviously coming to challenge. I just think that the reason, obviously injuries as well, but they've not spent that money for a reason. If they thought Scales was going to play at all, or he was going to be a big part of the squad, I don't think they'd have spent nearly £7-8 million to centre backs. So I think that's obviously been. I know what you're saying, JP, as well, that it's his jersey to lose, and it is. But if as soon as Rocky's fit, I think as soon as Vickers is fit, and as soon as Nat Phillips is fit, I think he's the way down the pecking order. As much as same as me when I played up front, if I was scoring goals all the time, I should be in the team. But see if the guy who is the main man, just for talk's sake, I'm scoring goals every week. But see if Kyle goes fit, he's playing. It's just the way. It's just unfortunate that football, in terms of winning games, mate, managers or something are not loyal to players, mate. They need to do the best they can for their job and the fans and the success of the club. And if the guy who's like Carter Vickers, he's fit, right? Sorry, you're out. So that's just the way it is. But I do agree that he deserves to play tomorrow. I think he's probably going to play because Phillips is maybe going to maybe not make it. I like Lagerby.
You get the bleach ready?
Aye. I've got to bleach my rosy beads ready, mate. Aye.
Jimmy Calder with his rosy beads. Aye.
I mean, you get a packet of crisps behind the couch and just wash it for her.
No, sure it's no pickled onion you'll be greeting again.
No, between onion, mate, my best be barking, shite. No, but I do think that Lager Bielka's decent, mate. I know he might not be the quickest, but I think I like the way he wants to play football. He wants to play in the front foot. He always, what I like about him, and it annoys me at even amateur level or professional, when players don't pass the ball forward onto a player, when they pass it back and he's got to adjust their body and it takes momentum away. But when he plays the ball forward, I noticed that against Kilmarnock, he kept playing the ball forward all the time. And that's what I like, because when the ball's playing forward, the attacks go quicker. But if you play the ball behind, you then need to adjust your body and the team get back into shape and stuff. So I think Lager Bielka probably play as well. Again, he's played in, I think Sweden's a decent league, mate. It's not amazing, but he's played okay in that division. So, and the team he came for done okay. So I've no qualms with Lager Bielka. I just hope that in terms of tomorrow, I think Scales will play. I think he will play, mate. So, but the boy Phillips has good experience as well. If he's fully fit again, I think that Scales just moves back to the pecking order.
I've put up a wee banner for us there. So obviously
I think.
So Brendan's confirmed that Phillips is struggling with an ankle
injury. I think in an ideal world, I know we're saying Scales is probably get a jersey, but in an ideal world, mate, you'd have Rocky, Vickers, Lager Bielka and Phillips. They would be your 40 pick for. and it probably Carter Vickers, and by my thinking, it would probably maybe Rocky, because I think Rocky looked very good. He done well for Warsaw last season as well, so, and he was highly, him and Lager Bielka are actually very highly tipped if you listen to the media and stuff over their countries. So I think it will affect in terms of the personnel who he can pick, because obviously you've got a straight front two who are Bielka and Scales, so hopefully they can through training the night, and obviously nothing tomorrow, everything's fine tomorrow. So but I'll obviously talk to you about it tomorrow, mate, so I'll let you kick off with
that. No, obviously, just as a right into tomorrow, Lewis, obviously, in terms of Brendan tonight, obviously he's confirmed that Nat Phillips rolled his ankle at the weekend. I actually thought Nat Phillips was struggling, mate, when and I said this to the guy behind me. This was after half an hour. I actually thought he was, when the team's pressing up and Scales is coming up to the halfway line and sitting in with the team. He's behind this again. He's like back here. So I was like, he's really struggling to get up. And then before you know it, Dundee were lobbing the ball forward again, trying to hit the big boy Bakayoko up top. But again, Scales done very, very well. I thought he kept the big lad quiet. It looked like a big physical lad in terms of very similar to the big boy Newbley at Livingston. He looks quite physical, the big lad, but big Scales kept him really quiet. And what I thought with Scales at the weekend, I thought he was very aggressive and he's defending against him. So I hope that's maybe something, in terms of the physicality side of the game. If we're going to come up against a big striker, I hope Liam's going to step up to that in terms of, I don't care how big you are, I'm going to get in about you and make things really difficult for you and try and upset your rhythm. But in terms of Nat Phillips, mate, where do you think they are and where we are in terms of that? Because obviously Brendan saying that tonight's kind of threw that kind of spanner into the works in terms of it might not be them, it might not be him. It starts again tomorrow.
Yeah, well, if you're saying that, then that probably is it. I think I'm playing 45 minutes and then coming off at half time. I thought maybe that was just always the plan, and then give Lager Bielka. But obviously, if he has got injured, then it was obviously a forced change. But again, as you say, there's not really much they could do with the injuries that they've got with Carter Vickers, Rocky, and obviously now Nat Phillips. So I think you've got your two centre-halves picked already. To be honest, don't think they'll go Kobayashi anyway. So again, it is going to be a tough game, but it's one that I'm definitely looking forward to. Again, it's Brendan Rodgers is back in the Champions League, back in the big time, and it's a test for them. And I'm sure the players will come out and give the fans what they want to see.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think Ryan, I've said this as well, mate. I think Brendan's sort of buzzing for this type of football. I think this is what he's been looking forward to, I would say, the most since he's took back over, mate. Would you agree with that, or would you just think he's happy to be back?
I think he's obviously happy to be back, but I think I said to you obviously after the game against Rangers at Ibrox that I think he manages to be in the big games. That's where he comes up trumps. This is why he's in my opinion, he's an elite manager, and elite managers in the big games do very well. I think he'll have to take a wee flashback to obviously the group stage when we can beat off Barcelona and PSG. Not to be as go as gung ho. You can't go and play with two wingers, go gung ho. If we do go and get an early goal tomorrow, I'm not saying go and sit back and defend, but be cautious. I'm not saying go and just keep it 1-0, but use your experience. So like Joe Hart, like I said, you be Joe Hart against Real Madrid at nothing each. He's running to take goal kicks. He's running to take. Settle down. Use your experience. You're a 36-year-old keeper. They're rushing to take shies. I'm like, see if you're even 1-0 up tomorrow, even if it's stay for 10 minutes, take your time. Take 5 yards at a shy. Take 10 yards at a shy. Take your time for corners. These wee things, they're game management, and I think Rodgers knew. I think he's obviously, he got Leicester, I know it was a conference, but he got him a semi-final, so he knows how to navigate European competitions. I think obviously some fans are maybe a wee bit naive because we all thought that under Ange we were getting closer. This was a year we could go and compete, maybe finish third or finish second or whatever. And now we've lost Ange, thinking, right, what we got the European wise now, but they're forgetting that Rodgers got us to group stage. Good results against Man City, and if things went away in that group stage, McGregor and again in Gladbach shows that goal, we could have qualified at that group. If wee small things, it's even last year, it's wee small things. And for me, JP, I think this is where guys like Rodgers, this is where the kind of cream rises to the top. You'll see hopefully more that he's learned for years gone past in previous games. And no, I'm not loose. I'm looking forward to it. But again, I don't want. Obviously, you've got to be confident in your team. But like I've said to you, mate, it might be a wee negative Nancy, but our away record is shocking. So I'll happily go there, take a point, and come back to Scotland, because it's a bonus, mate. In my opinion, if you go away from home and you get a point, even the 3 games, and you try and at least get 7 points at Celtic Park, I know it is going to be hard to beat, but if you try and get a point, I think that's what you're looking for, in my opinion. You need to try and win your home games, because I don't know what you feel, Lewis, but I think in recent times, even Celtic Park used to be a fortress in Europe. It's not really there. I think teams come to Celtic Park now, they can't wait to see the atmosphere, they can't wait to come to Celtic Park, and I want that to change, and I'm hoping Brendan can change it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was at the Real Madrid game, and obviously we started on fire that night, and we could have easily been 1 up, maybe 2 up. I think Cal McGregor had a good chance as well, but that's when we need to score early. See if we score early at Celtic Park, I think then the crowd gets the lift. If a team comes to Celtic Park especially, and they take the sting out the crowd first 10-15 minutes, that's where I think Celtic will struggle. But if they could, obviously at the start of the games, you know what the Champions League nights are like. Always Celtic start well. The crowd are on the back the first 5-10 minutes is huge. Celtic could score in that first 5-10 minutes. I think that sets them up for the rest of the game. But it's getting that start is the huge thing.
Because I don't know what you feel, JP, but I know I've seen some fans social media that are really confident about it more, and I'm kind of like, I don't know where we're getting the confidence for, because this is the champions are obviously Holland. Look at the PSV team; they beat that team, and they were the champions last year. So I think FEYENOORD, and maybe no one's formed the new, but potentially there could be an upgrade on PSV by all accounts. So they've got a good manager at helm. I know their star striker, Jimenez, he's not playing, but they've got a good striker as well in the creation. I think it's Avanticic, something like that. He's a good player. So they've scored a lot of goals this year. I think the
boy Jimenez isn't playing though,
no, he's injured. Suspended, right? So they kind of play they play similar to the way we played last year. The inverted and 4-2-3-1. It is kind of attacking base. So it'll be interesting, JP, how we'll come up against that, because we used to playing that way. We've not really played a lot of teams that play that way against us, especially in Scotland. So I think, again, though, it could maybe similar to us, JP. In Europe, we kind of gave teams chances. So you could expect that tomorrow against them.
Well, I've said before, Ryan, I always think, see teams that play against us and try and play against us rather than sitting in and with that low block, I always think we seem to get a bit of joy, because it shows our side of football. So it's always, our football shows in these sort of games, because we spoke about it earlier on, guys like Hatate picking the ball up in the midfield and having that quickness and, you know, the tactical awareness to then play the next pass. He's 1 and 2 ahead of what he's going to do. And the lad, the quick glance of the lad at the weekend, the boy Bernardo seems the same. He knows when he's getting the ball, he knows where the ball's going next, and he knows where he's moving. Yang's the same. See, when he receives a ball in the wing, he knows what he's either going to cut inside, he's going to knock the ball by the boy, or he's going to play a first-time pass looking for a 1-2 in. He knows he's like 2 and 3 moves ahead. You can just watching the guy and watching the way he receives the ball, you can see that in him. And I think this level will help these boys to then kick on. But I think what's spot on for us, Ryan, is the experience of last year. So boys like Matt O'Reilly, Rio Watati, they'd never played in the Champions League before. Kyogo. Now they've got that under their belt. They know going in tomorrow, mate, they need to beat it. They know going in tomorrow, they need to. It's a step up in a level that they're not used to playing it domestically every week. They're used to being the top dogs every week, but they're getting into a competition now with teams that they're sort of equal. But as for tomorrow, mate, I'm not too sure that I'm drastically dreading it. I've seen fans saying, "Oh, this mob are some outfit." And by the way, we're a good team and all, so don't forget about that. We're actually quite a good team and all. If you don't believe me, man, I'll take you down the trophy room and I'll show you. We're a good team as well. So you need to stop thinking about other teams and what they're going to do. Because right now, to me, their manager was on the news tonight saying Kyogo's playing. Oh no, he's fit. So right away, that's through a spanner into his box. I think he thought maybe that shoulder injury was going to keep him out for the weekend. But now that he's playing, it's maybe their defenders aren't as quick. I don't know. I've not watched them enough to know. But if their defenders aren't pacey and the wee man's movement away, that's going to cause him trouble. But not just him. The Duracell batter out in the left wing and all. He's frightening. He just doesn't stop running. He doesn't give you a minute's peace. Lewis, you were a fullback, mate. So how would you have thought and felt with that constant relentless running? Because every time he plays against Tavernier's greeting for his mammy. And you can just see it. It's like he sees that lineup, he goes, "Oh no, man, I'm not playing against him today, man. No way." And you can just, he's dreading it. But every time you get that ball, you know he's either going to be right at you or he's coming at you for the other angle. So how would you have felt playing against somebody like that with that running just constantly? I've never seen a guy sprint at a guy and then do the exact same in the same sort of sprint to the next guy.
Go again and again. It's crazy. We watch it and we think, well, that's incredible. But do you know what? It's not even doesn't mind that. It's Kyogo as well. You see Kyogo doing it and pressing keepers constantly. The work rate and obviously that came from Ange as well. But you see them still doing it now. The work rate, they're putting the pressure on the back four on opposition. It's frightening. And to deal with that, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than you taking a touch and having somebody running full pelt at you and putting that pressure on you because you know that your touch has to be good, first of all, and then you have to get a pass away quick. So again, I'm hoping he does that and we do press high and we do go for it. But again, we can't press high and then we sit off and we end up with big massive gaps because that's exactly when good teams you play against, Feyenoord and your Lazios and your Atletico Madrids, they will pick you off when you leave gaps for your middle, from your middle to the front. And that's what we can't have. They need to press. If they're going to press from the front, they need to press as a team. But again, that's what Celtic are good at. We've proved it over the course of last season as well. That is what we're good at. So sticking to the principles and sticking to what we're good at, that's what we've got to do tomorrow if we're going to get any result.
So I think guys like Hatati's a massive bonus tomorrow if he's fit. Should be playing. I don't think David Turnbull's got the legs to do that job. I think David Turnbull's technically very good. I think Scotland he's fine, but I think in terms of, I think tomorrow will be a bit of a battle as well. So they'll need legs, they'll need fitness. Yeah. So I think that's where Tati will come in as well. But I know obviously at Celtic, Lewis, I think you played with Hooper and guys like Stokes and Samaras and that. How when you look see Kyogo, but for me, I've JP will know. For me, Hooper was phenomenal. I know you spoke about him in the past, but see guys to see him in training and then you see it on the game, but the exact same in training. So see guys are training with Kyogo. See what he does on the park. Do you think that's what they come up against in training? And it must be amazing to see.
Yeah, no, as the movement in that we see watching it, like me watching Kyogo now, it's incredible the movement. I watch him. I tell him, obviously I'm manager of a team. I tell my players to watch the movement of Celtic and the players and how they press and the movements when they're not even interested. They move into space, not even interested in getting the ball, but they're moving into space to create a space for somebody else to come into that. And it's crazy. It's unbelievable and it's worked on. The players know, and that is the top level, obviously in Scotland, and hopefully they're going to be at a top level in Europe as well. But guys like Cooper and Stokes and that, they had top quality and they were all good at certain things. But I think Kyogo's in an absolute different bracket, to be honest with you. I honestly do. I think he's in a totally different world. than guys like, obviously Hooper was a top player for Celtic, scored some amount of important goals. But the way that I watch Kyogo and the things that he does is, and the Hatatis as well, again, top player. It's frightening. We are very lucky to have them.
Mm-hmm. Lewis, would you say Kyogo is probably the closest thing to modern day what we're going to get to Henrik?
Yeah, I would agree with that, 100%. I'd agree with that. I watched Henrik, obviously, you watched him growing up as well. I think Kyogo is up there with him, to be honest. And if he was here for the years that Henrik was there, will he score the amount of goals and Henrik did? I would think so. I think he'd be very close anyway.
Yeah. I just think you look at your goal at the weekend, that there itself, the ball for Callum McGregor, his movement, that run to, he sees Joe Sogdensey switching off. It actually looks, you can, when you slow it down, you see it back, he watches him switching off, and then goes, right, bump, I'm away. As soon as he sees McGregor getting the ball, Kyogo's off, he's off ski, and it's
because that's worked on in training as well.
Yeah.
That'll be worked on in training as well, exactly. Different movements of players when they receive the ball. You see Kyogo moves before, like guys like McGregor and Hatat even receive the ball. He's already moving to go in, and it's like 5 passes before he's already knowing exactly like where the ball was going. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to watch.
Do you look at Jota last season, the cup game, the game at Hampden? Maeda, the Rangers team switch off. Maeda picks the ball up. As soon as he picks the ball up, Jota's off his mark right to that back post. He knows exactly where that ball's gone. Yeah. And it's like you've said, it's like they've done that 25 times before that in training.
Yeah.
That movement has happened before in training, and they've just then implemented it into a match day, which is
brilliant.
To be able to do that for training, Ryan. I think the toughest thing there is to do it for training, to then sit about and talk about it in theory and how you're going to do it, and then to go and do it physically.
I think as well,
special, Ryan.
I think as well, obviously Lewis has played at Celtic, mate, and he'll know how the demands and what you do at training. I think if you don't take it into a game, then I think you've got to, like what they always say is, train the way you play, and I think you need to do that at Celtic. I think every training session has to be leading up to a Saturday, because I've always said, I know I didn't play that level, but I think if you have a bad training week, it kind of gets into the Saturday. I have no trained well this week, I've no worked well this week, I've not done that. So I think you need to do everything correct every training session. And there's a wee comment on YouTube, Lewis. A guy asked, Lewis, what do you make of Maeda? I think he's my favourite player at Celtic. What was basically, imagine playing behind him. How do you feel playing, basically him giving you the licence to go and maybe support, knowing that he'll be able to defend?
Yeah, exactly. You just back him up. You'd give him the ball and just back him up, do you know what I mean? And he will help you out defensively as well. You've seen him travelling back, like coming back to the right back position, coming back to if he was on the left. It's the work rate that Maeda's got is for all to see. It's incredible. And to be, if I was a right back playing, I would just give him the ball and say, right, on you go and get at him. And the work rate, and he's so, there's nothing worse. And on the flip side of it, being a fullback playing against Maeda, there's nothing worse than a winger, an out-and-out winger running at you at pace. Could go inside, could go outside, because it's so hard to stop. You are just going to end up, you're gambling, you're going to try and foul, because he's rapid as well. There's nothing you could do to stop it. It's either a foul or it's an absolute gamble to dangle a leg and something like that. So he would be a nightmare to play with, and he would be absolutely brilliant to play with.
I was actually going to say to you, you're up the road now, and I was just going to say to you, can you send a wee message out to find out if Cammy Kerr's all right? Because, mate, I don't know if he's still at Celtic Park now with his tongue hanging out, because he gave him a torrid time on Saturday, man. He was running at him, he was running by him, he was picking up, he was featy. Cammy was featy to take it. I mean, Cammy's quite good on the ball. He's actually quite decent with the ball. He was featy to touch the ball on Saturday. He was like, every time he get the ball, Lewis, he was like that. Where is he? Because I know he's coming, I can hear him.
Cammy's a good mate of mine. I watched him. I don't know if you remember Den's last, obviously when Dundee, it would have been 2 seasons ago under Ange, and Jota absolutely ripped Cammy to shreds as well. At Den's, I don't know if you remember that. He was unbelievable that day.
I do remember that.
And I texted him right after the game saying, how are you, bud? He just texts us back saying, "Please don't."
Is that the one?
But,
Was that the one we were 3-0 up at half time?
Yeah,
Kyogo?
correct.
Aye.
Oops. Sorry.
Sorry. He's that excited. He's disappeared now. Know what I mean? But no, Ryan. As I said, it's I really do think, just as you were saying there, that when I put that one out about Cammy Kerr, I think Cammy was struggling. Every time, like I say, man, he said was on one of the Beetlejuice things. It just kept spinning because see if you're a fullback, you're playing against him, right? You know that what's going on, what is happening. You know it's going to. He's either you've got seconds to do it, mate. You must have to play one touch. You must have to learn to play one touch because if you don't, you're in trouble. Because mate, Maeda doesn't just close you down at speed. He closes you down, right? But then he hits you. He then hits you. He lets you feel him. Kyogo does the same. See when you see him charging at goalkeepers or the centre backs, or I think the big boy Laird played he took a touch too many. And Kyogo, in fact, it was Big O. He's the same again. He's like one of the physical players that, touchy. And he was right at him. And I like that, Ryan. I quite like what I see with that when I see the Celtic team do that, because it makes you think, right, here we go. But it also sets a tone. It then puts the other team on the back foot. When you have that speed running at you, and maybe you're not at, look, there we go. Big OG specialist there at PSV. No, not the best technically. Knocks the ball by big butterfingers, and the ball goes in 5-1. There you go. But see when you're not the best technically, and then you've got that speed running at you to make you have to think sharper. Ryan, you're all right. Before you know it, you're tied up in knots, and there is a definite SO. I know, Lewis, obviously something's must have happened, but I know there is an SOS out for his pal, definitely, because I just hope the boy's all right.
No, I think when you're playing against pace, mate, again, I might be one of the best players, mate, but I was quite nippy, quite tricky, and anybody who I come up against did say that people don't like pace, especially when you in the direct. This is why guys like Abada, Jota, that's why we like them, my head, because they're just direct, and that's what I like, mate, in terms of. And I hope that's what we do tomorrow. We try and take chances. We try and take chances because I think if we don't take chances, then you're kind of thinking, go and take a chance. It's the biggest stage in club football. Guys like my age and stuff like that, go and take a chance. But I think overall, mate, I'm looking forward to the game, and I think that's me coming in again tomorrow, mate. I'm just looking forward to it, and hopefully we can try and get a result.
Yeah, absolutely. Lewis, we thought you were away looking for Cammy Kerr there, mate. We actually, that's what myself and Ryan were just chatting about there, mate. We thought you were away making sure he was all right.
I was looking for Michael Garding, looking for Midge. Still delivering parcels, mate.
Aye. Now, he's not, I was due one earlier on, he's not turned up with mine, so I might know why. But just before, obviously, we finish up, Lewis, I'm glad that you managed to get back on there and sort your wee thing out there. But I'm going to ask you for a wee quick team predicted lineup and what you think the team might be tomorrow for the first Champions League group stage opener. So I'll start with you, Lewis. Fire away, mate.
I think he'll go Hart. I think he'll go Johnson. Obviously, the back two, I think, picks it in. The back two centre backs will pick for itself. Lagerbielke and Scales, and then Greg Taylor. I think he should go Cal McGregor, O'Reilly, and Titati. And then I'm thinking Maeda, Young, Kyogo. That would be my team.
Okay.
I like Young. I do like Young. I think he's got some amount of quality. And again, he could open up a defence. He could beat a man as well. So
what I'm mostly impressed with, Lewis, is his work rate. See when he's not getting he wants to chase you, and again, he's another one that will put legs into, making you make mistakes and chasing the fullback down. And he might not be having. He doesn't need to be. He's one of the players. He might not be having the best of games, but he'll do the other side really well, and that will still make him effective and bring that to the team. So I do early on. I do like what I'm seeing with Yang, but yeah, mate, that's probably where I am in terms of team lines. I think that'll be the team. Ryan, yourself?
Probably just about the same team, mate, but I would probably go Palmer over Yang. More for, I know he's not played too many games in Europe, Palmer, but I'm just the kind of European, he's played in the foreign leagues, he's played in hostile atmospheres in Greece, Cyprus. So he can play in that kind of hostile environment. He's played Europe already with Aris as well, so I would probably go with, again, you're paying £4 million roughly for a guy, so these are the games maybe to play him in. These are the games you're signed for, so I'd probably say maybe the only change I would make to the loose team would be Palmer, mate, probably.
It's all right, mate. I'll save you. You had the Greek journalist Giannis on with us, so it was definitely Greece you played in, mate. So, Lewis, he done the interview with a guy, you know what I mean? He's sitting double guessing himself. Was it Cyprus? Was it Greece?
It's a long day, mate. It's a long Monday, man.
You can tell he's going to be on holiday on Friday, can't you? He's elsewhere.
He'll be him, mate.
As soon as you see Lager in the lineup tomorrow, man, you're going to be like, oh, I can't wait.
Lager with side by Tequila Rose.
Aye, but no, listen, lads. Some really good points here. Some really good ways of thought. It's good to get some insights with yourself, Lewis, in terms of how it was at youth level, getting into these kind of games, because obviously the B team are going to experience that now again, going into these games. And again, mate, it's like we've said, because of the league that they're playing in, for me, it's going to be a massive jump. Again, I don't know about Feyenoord's, Atletico and Lazio's youth setups like, but I'm assuming that there will be. They won't be. It'll not be their first rodeo, put it that way. And they will certainly be accustomed to playing some really good teams at that level and stuff. So I think it'll be a big step for the B team. It'll be a learning curve. It'll be a big experience for them, but I also think it'll be a big step for them moving into this. But well, lads, listen, it was really good to get your points. And again, I'm with you. I think I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I'm hoping we make a good account of ourselves, because anything for Celtic away from home in Europe is a bonus, because we all know that the record isn't the best or the most impressive. So again, Lewis, I just want to thank yourself for coming on, mate, and making the night still possible, instead of going out and getting your wee Amazon guy a wee lawn or whatever.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. Brilliant.
No, I appreciate it, mate. Thanks.
For the next time, mate, I want you to find out how Cammy Kerr is, definitely.
I will. We'll get Cammy on. I'll get Cammy on.
Get him on. That would be good, because then we could even get that insight to, what's it like playing against these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You've done it. And put it this way, Cammy's probably ran more on Saturday than he's ran the last maybe 2 years. No, definitely. I don't doubt it, Ryan. I know you might be laughing, mate, but see, when you need to chase that guy, then you are running, mate. Your running then goes into the amber or the red or whatever that would to match that, because you're playing against them. So
yeah.
No, guys, honestly, superb, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Again, Lewis, we'll be in touch, mate, and hopefully the next time we get you on, I just sit in the side.
Okay, guys.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.